you ready to walk away with $1 million today? If you're ready, then let's play. So let's start off with a $200 question. Is it $200? I believe so. For $200, which one of the following is an example of a direct tax? A. Value added tax. B. Vehicle excise duty. C. Corporation tax. Or D. Alcohol duty. Oh, that was quick from DHL. So remember the definition of a direct tax. So it's a tax that's levied on your income directly or on your profits directly. So I'll give you 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. C, is that your final answer? Good job. So yeah, corporation tax is a type of direct tax because it's a tax directly on businesses' profits. Whereas an indirect tax would be taxes you pay when buying goods and services. So therefore, VAT is an indirect tax. Vehicle duty and alcohol duty, again, would be indirect tax because you pay it when you buy a good or service or sell it at a good or service. Okay, next one. For $2,000, there's $2,000 right here for your college education. Don't lose it. Which of the following is an example of contractionary fiscal policy? A. Decreasing the supply of credit. B. Increasing spending on welfare benefits. C. Increasing the size of the budget surplus. Or D. Reducing progressive taxation. Well, DHL is quick as always. And then we'll see what others think. I have to say. So I'll give you 5 more seconds. This one is slightly trickier. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, C, is that our final answer? Oh, we've got a D as well. Let's see. D or C? Let's see. Okay, so let me explain. So let's think back about what a contractionary fiscal policy is. A contractionary fiscal policy is when the economy is shrinking. So the government must be taking money away from the economy. In order for the government to take money away from the economy, either the government can increase taxes or reduce their spending. Yeah. So if the government decreases the supply of credit, actually this would be monetary policy, it's not fiscal policy, so we can ignore A. If the government increases spending on welfare benefits, it's actually increasing government spending, right? It would be an expansionary fiscal policy. It's not a contractionary one because it's increasing the size of the economy, so it won't be B. Reducing progressive taxation. So again, if we reduce taxes, or if we tax people less, that means the government is kind of taking less money away from the economy. That means leaving the economy with more money, then that would be an expansionary fiscal policy instead of a contractionary one. So therefore, the answer should be C. Because if we increase the size of the budget surplus, so what a budget surplus is when the government is spending less than they take in terms of tax revenue. So if we increase the size of the budget surplus, that means either the government is taxing people more to have more of a surplus, or the government might be spending less to have more of a surplus. So therefore, C would be an example of a contractionary fiscal policy. Okay, next one. Are you ready? For $16,000, you still have 3 lifelines left. Phone a friend, ask the audience, or 50-50. Which one of the following is most likely to cause an increase in the structural budget deficit? A fall in income tax receipts in an economic downturn. B, a rise in government spending on welfare in a recession. C, rise in healthcare and pension expenditure due to an aging population. Or D, rise in spending on imports during economic recovery. So again, whenever we've got a question with like a technical term in it, we want to recall what that term means. So in this case, what does a structural budget deficit mean? So when something is structural, it's quite bad, right? It's like a long-term, permanent issue. So I'll give you maybe 5 more seconds. Is that too quick for this question? Okay, so we've got a change of heart by DHL. Okay, we've got the consensus now. Alright, so 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.5. C. Is that the final answer? Yeah, good job. So I feel like I tipped you guys off. Shouldn't have done that. Because a structural budget deficit is a long-term permanent issue. Not permanent, but like long-term issue of the economy. We can see in this case, if people are getting older and there's like a big number of boomers getting older who needs healthcare and pensions, we would need to spend more in the future, and most likely it would cause a structural budget deficit, because it's not just this year or next year that we need to spend more and have a budget deficit. It's going to be like the next 10, 20 or 30 years. So that would be a structural budget deficit. That's why it's C. But let's have a look at the other options again as well. So A, fall in income tax receipts in an economic downturn. So this would kind of like be a short-term thing, right? So whenever they talk about like a cyclical thing or economic downturn or recession, so all of these are like short-term or economic recovery, but it's not like a structural budget deficit. So A, B, and D will be more of a cyclical budget deficit, yeah. Okay, cool. Next one. $64,000. Which one of the following policy changes represents a contractionary fiscal policy? A decrease in income tax. B, an increase in government spending. C, a decrease in the budget deficit. Or D, an increase in the rate of interest. So you might think that you have had the same question before, but it's different because the answers are different. Would you be able to get the correct answer, like the previous question? C again? How many C's are there, do you think, DHL? I'm not challenging your answer, but who knows, it might all be C's. If you've watched this stream long enough and calculate the probability of the answer being C, you would find that the probability is actually quite high. Okay. I'll give you 5 more seconds to decide. Okay, I see a not sure answer. I appreciate your honesty. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. C, is that the correct answer? Good job. You've got $64,000 in your pocket. So again, a contractionary fiscal policy is when the government is taking money away from the economy by reducing the level of aggregate demand in the economy. So how can the government do that? The government can do that by increasing the taxes, so basically picking more money from the pockets of households, or they can also reduce their spending. Yeah. So a decrease in the income tax wouldn't be right, because if we want to shrink the economy, we want to increase taxes, so not A. It won't be B as well. We want to decrease spending if we want to shrink the economy. D would be a monetary policy. It's not a fiscal policy. So therefore, it must be C. A decrease in the budget deficit. So when the government is in a budget deficit, it means that they're spending more than they can afford, right? So the government spending is higher than taxes. So if we decrease the level of spending, or if we decrease the budget deficit of how much the government is borrowing, this also means that we are decreasing the amount of government spending. And hence, therefore, C would be a contractionary fiscal policy. Okay, but you guys are doing quite well so far. 500K, $500,000. Which one of the following is a fiscal policy economist most likely to recommend to stimulate recovery for an economy in recession for several years? A. Increase government expenditure financed by borrowing. B. Increase money supply to maintain low interest rates. C. Increase taxes to fund government expenditure. Or D. Cutting government expenditure to balance its budget. So actually, I think this question might be a bit too easy for you guys. Because like all the answers are quite different from each other. Like not necessarily different, but like a particular answer kind of stands out. So interesting. Again, we've got some C answers, but also A. And then I like the consideration of the practical versus theoretical. Okay, so again, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. C. Is that your final answer? So, yeah, theoretically, it would be A. Yeah, so theoretically, if you're a fiscal policy economist, most likely in a recession, you would want to increase the amount of government spending and stimulate the economy. And yeah, so the amount of government spending can be financed by government borrowing. Okay, so let's have a look at the other answers. So for B, increase money supply to maintain low interest rates. So again, interest rates is related to monetary policy. It's not part of fiscal policy, so it won't be B. D, cutting government expenditure to balance its budget. This wouldn't make sense as well, because if you cut government expenditure, then that means you are shrinking the economy. So you don't want to do that in a recession. You want to cut government expenditure in a boom, or when the economy is doing well. And then C, increase taxes to fund government expenditure. So again, we wouldn't want to increase taxes in a recession because we won't want to stimulate the economy. Yeah. So although it should be C realistically, but it's unlikely the government will increase taxes, like DHL said. Therefore, the answer is A. is A or C? Okay, but yeah, so in general, the government would hardly increase, or they don't want to increase taxes in most circumstances. And it would be even more unpopular to increase taxes during a recession. So most likely they won't do that, even though they might need to do it in the future, because the UK economy is just borrowing too much money. Okay, final question. It's too sunny here. It's like, I'm not sure you guys can see my face anymore. You can only see my mouth and my nose. Okay. For $1 million or more, what is the nature of the income tax in this country? Maths question. A. Regressive. B. Progressive. C. Flat rate. D. Proportional. So I'll let you use 50-50 for this question, because we didn't discuss flat rate or proportional. So you know in your hearts that it's not going to be flat rate or proportional. So is it progressive or regressive? How do you calculate it? So we've got a B. So what does a progressive tax mean? And what does a regressive tax mean? So we want to look at the percentages, right? So is a higher income household paying more or paying less? Actually, it's A. I can't count. It's okay. Counting is hard. Okay, so I think you guys are quite set in terms of your answer. So, is it A, your final answer? Good job. It is regressive. So, let me explain the calculation. What we want to do is we want to calculate the amount of tax that each household needs to pay in terms of like the percentages, right? So you can see household income before tax is 18 grand, then we'll be paying 7 grand of income tax, and then 40 grand we'll be paying 12 grand, and 80 grand we'll be paying 22 grand. So let me just do the percentages here with my pen. Okay. So, oh, I can't even see my screen. The sun is too strong. The power of the sun. So 7 grand out of 18 grand is how much in terms of percentages? So we would just divide 7,000 by 18,000. Then we would get like 7 over 18. So that's around, I don't actually know. I don't have a calculator with me. That's around like a lot. 0.70 divided by 18, then 4. Oh yeah, that's around 40% actually. One of the benefits of being Asian is being good at maths. But actually no, Asians are good at math because they practice a lot. So you can see the lower income household is actually paying 40% of their income. And now let's compare that to the higher income household. So if we're paying 22 grand out of your 80 grand, so, and then we times it by 100 to get a percentage, this would be around like what, 27 to 30%, something like that. So we can see that actually the higher income household or the wealthier is actually paying a lower percentage of their income in terms of taxes compared to the lower income household, which is actually paying a higher percentage of their income. So this is what we call a regressive tax. Yeah. So if it is the other way around, like most income taxes in most countries, such as the UK, in the UK, if you earn over 50 grand, anything above 50 grand, you need to pay like 40% of taxes, right? Whereas if anything you earn below that, it would be much less, like 20 something percent. Yeah. So as a result, for the UK, it would be more of a progressive income tax system, like in most countries as well. Okay, cool. So I believe that is the last question for today. And let's have a quick Q&A session for any economics